making that Bolitnikoff semi-finalist list excite you? Do anything for you, or just business as usual?
Yeah, it's definitely exciting, to be named one of those guys. But, just focus on this week, keep doing what I'm doing on the field.
You guys, Iowa coach talked about how you're one of the best receivers he's ever seen. He's been doing it for a long time. What does that mean to you?
It's definitely cool to hear that from him, but, I ain't really got nothing to do with me.
Coach Riley called it a culture win. What does that mean to you? Like, what told you after that game that this was a good step for the culture of the team?
Yeah, it was definitely a big win for the team. Not how we wanted to start off, in the first half, but, it just shows you how tight we as a team. And we was able to flip the switch, come out there with the win.
Seeing Coach Riley get so fired up and overjoyed on the sidelines like he did in this last game, how does that affect the rest of the team and just the vibe overall?
Yeah, it definitely brings, good vibes, all smiles around the team. You can see the head coach, smiling, just want to make you feel good, glad we, did our job on the field, and he called the right plays for sure.
Why is the team so close?
I feel like just the bond that we created, during the off season, all the hard work we put in, blood, sweat, and tears into this. So, I'm just glad we was able to, do that, and it just shows you how close we is as a team.
Would you say this is a player-led team at this point in the season?
Yeah, definitely.
How does that affect the dynamic of everything?
A lot, for sure. The coach is not on the field, to make the plays. We are. So, at the end of the day, we got to, do our job. Make the right calls, make the right plays. So, I feel like, as a player-driven team, it's only going to help us.
This team has a lot of key starters, a lot of guys on both sides of the ball who have been here several years, who haven't come from other schools. How much does that maybe affect the culture to have guys who have been in the same place for a long time?
Yeah, definitely. It impacts it big. You got guys here that already, know how things are going, how the programs ran. So, just showing the new guys, the way, how to move, the things that we do here. So, just trying to keep the young guys, on track. So, we can all have, all push as one team.
You guys played in a lot of close games last year. Do you feel like those experiences have helped you guys this year?
For sure. I feel like we learn things from, every game. Doesn't mean if it's last year or year before that, we learn things and then, just try not to make the same mistake again.
Like you talked about you maybe becoming more of a vocal leader, talking to the team a little bit more. How have you seen yourself grow into that role and take that responsibility?
Yeah, definitely, taking on that role. I wasn't too vocal, more just trying to put in the work, lead by example. So, I'm definitely, embracing more of that role, just trying to tell the young guys and tell everybody, to, get to work.
What is the team doing this week to make sure you can play complete 4 quarters on Saturday?
Making sure, we just start off fast, do everything, right from the beginning of practice, not really, skipping no steps or, just trying to miss anything, just trying to have a whole complete week of practice so we go out there and do what we need to do.
What are some things that maybe people wouldn't think of that you're starting fast with in practices? Like, what are some things that you really try and hone in on?
I feel like just doing our job, coming out there, blocking, running fast. So, just little things like that. They all play a part.
This offense has been significantly better at home versus on the road. What do you feel like is the key to making sure that there isn't a difference when you guys come out there?
Just coming out with the same mentality. You got everybody against you, so that's different. So, but we wouldn't want to know other way. Go into their house. Do what we need to do.
What have you seen from Oregon's secondary on film?
They a great team. They got great DBs. It's gonna be a fun one Saturday.
Do you feel any sense of rivalry with Oregon? I know Oregon and USC have kind of butted heads.
Yeah, definitely, for the program, but me, I'm just going in there as another game, another game to put on, show what we do on the field.
Do you have a favorite catch from the Iowa game?
Do I have a favorite catch?
Or, yeah, one of yours.
Not really. I feel like each one is unique in its own way.
One more?
No, Jacoby dealt with some injuries at the start of the season. Seems like he's kind of back to form. How much different is the passing attack when you know that you have Jacoby kind of at full strength?
Yeah, for sure. That guy, I feel like he's unguardable. So, to have him on the field, it impacts the offense in a major way. Glad to have him on our team for sure.